Discipline doesn't fail when things are hard. It fails when you're tired. Late at night, phone in hand, just this once. Most people wait for the feeling to arrive, the burst of clarity, the better mood, the version of themselves that finally follows through. You've made a promise before, maybe out loud, or maybe just to yourself, in a clear moment when making it cost nothing. The run you were going to do, the project you were going to start, the thing you've been putting off for 3 weeks that would take 40 minutes if you just started. You don't need more information about why it matters. You have all the information. But the clear moment passes. A fight with someone you love, a hard day that took more than it gave, traffic, a comment that stayed with you longer than it should have. By the time you're home, or free, or finally alone, the version of you that made the promise is already somewhere else. You call it a motivation problem, a discipline problem. It isn't. The problem was never you. It was the room you were in. When Bill Friedman began studying casino design, he had a theory that the industry found strange. The conventional wisdom was desire. Study the gambler, understand their triggers, make them feel lucky, chosen, alive, keep the desire burning. Friedman thought this was the wrong problem. He wasn't interested in why people stayed. He was interested in why they left. The precise sequence of events that allowed a person to form a clear thought, I should stop, and then act on it. He started mapping not the players, but the gaps, the moments of clarity that broke the spell. What he found was surprising. Clarity requires friction. A sightline to an exit, a clock, an open space that lets the brain surface, orient, decide. Close those gaps, lower the ceiling, wind the path. Place the next machine exactly where the eye lands after the last one, and the moment of clarity never forms. The people don't decide to stay. They just never quite make the decision to leave. You recognize this. You've been in rooms like that. Not casinos, your own life. The phone charging next to the bed, the snacks at eye level, the desk buried under piles of paper before the work even starts. The room kept producing the same result, and you kept blaming yourself for it. But here's what Friedman understood that most people still don't. Inertia doesn't need to be created. It only needs to be protected. He spent his career using this against people. He eventually wrote a 700-page book on casino design that gave the industry a language for what he had been seeing. The same question that shaped the casino can be asked in reverse. Not, how do I force myself to start? Not, how do I push through when momentum drops? But, what does the room need to look like so that starting is the path of least resistance? And what needs to change so that stopping midway costs more than continuing? A friend of mine doesn't trust his mornings. He's unreliable when he's tired, so he has stopped asking himself too many questions. Same breakfast, same workout time, phone out of reach before bed. Decisions made once, in clarity, and not negotiated later. Once you make this move, you begin to see the incremental changes. Fewer moments where you have to catch yourself, fewer chances to slip. You put the running shoes by the door the night before, took your gym clothes out. In the morning, they are there,
already pulling before the weight of inertia can settle. Your guitar is right next to your bed, waiting. Before bedtime, the book you want to read is placed on your bedside table. Your phone is outside in the kitchen. The part of you that used to argue, bargain, brace for failure, starts to go quiet. It's no longer needed. The old rhythm, temptation, resistance, promise, collapse, starts to dissolve. your identity shifts. You're no longer someone who tries to be disciplined. You're just someone whose days move in a certain direction. The struggle that once defined you starts to feel distant, almost embarrassing, like remembering a version of yourself that needed supervision just to function. Friedman's book was published in 2000, after decades of refining the idea, and you can still see his logic in casino layouts. In the lighting, the pathways, the careful removal of every moment where a person might surface and choose differently. He never asked gamblers to be weak. He just never gave them a moment to be strong. Reverse the architecture. Not, how do I become more disciplined? But, what does the room need to look like so that starting is easy and stopping is hard? And the version of me that shows up depleted still moves in the right direction. The room can be changed. Most people never change theirs. They keep waiting for the feeling, the motivation, the version of themselves that finally closes the distance and starts. But somewhere, someone already asked the question. Yesterday, in a clear moment, when asking it cost nothing. They moved something small, changed the geometry of their day by an inch. Today, the weight isn't there, not because they're stronger, because the room stopped producing it.